Next, I'd like to welcome Father Ben Johnson, an Orthodox priest and a writer for LifeSite News.
I'd like to thank President Obama for making this possible. As Nick Tom said, I'm a priest with the Eastern Orthodox Church, U.S. Bureau Chief for LifeSite News as well. As someone who's in these two different professions, sometimes I switch back and forth between wearing these two different hats. As a journalist, when I saw that the President of the United States had gotten the best and the brightest minds of Washington, D.C. together, and they decided that the most important aspect of the health care bill, the one that they were willing to emphasize above and beyond all others, was that every American, including postmenopausal women and gay men, needed access to birth control. I was mildly astounded. As an Eastern Orthodox priest, though, when I saw that the government was trying to impose something on a religious institution and on a series of religious institutions that deeply violated their most importantly long-held, deeply held beliefs, I shuddered. We've seen from our own history where this road goes. From the rise of Islam to the fall of the Berlin Wall, the history of the Eastern Orthodox Church has been the history of religious persecution. We have seen and sat by in stunned silence as our leaders were killed, our churches destroyed, our religious institutions were taken away and renamed by the state and put to other state uses. We watched as our dissidents were exiled, our values mocked, and ultimately our freedoms denied. As an Eastern Orthodox Christian in this country, I am profoundly grateful for what the Roman Catholic Church, the Southern Baptist Church, the more numerous churches of this country are doing, because there are so many more of you. We've seen the threat that we are under. We know that light and transient offenses against our religious liberty never remain light and transient offenses against religious liberty. We know that nature abhors a vacuum, and that every inch that is yielded by the church will be filled by a rushing, virulent secularism. We know that the first assault is never the complete assault. It's rarely a frontal assault to deny all our liberties. We know, in fact, it's a test of our strength and our resolve. It's an attempt to set a binding precedent, and it's an attempt to weaken our resources against the more serious assaults that will follow. We mentioned Patrick Henry at the beginning of this speech. Patrick Henry, in his speech, said so very clearly what is at stake. He said words that could have been uttered by the Catholic bishops of the USCCB. He said, "Sir, we have done everything that could be done to avert the storm that is now coming on us. We've petitioned, we've remonstrated, we've supplicated, we've prostrated ourselves before the throne of power. Our petitions have been slighted, our remonstrances have been produced nothing but additional violence and insult. Our supplications have been disregarded, we have been spurned with contempt from the foot of that throne. In vain may we indulge the fond hope of peace and reconciliation. There's no longer any room for hope. If we wish to be free, if we mean to preserve inviolate those inestimable privileges for which we've so long been contending, if we mean not basely to abandon the noble strength in which we've been so long engaged, in which we've pledged ourselves never to abandon until it's been obtained, we must fight. I repeat it, sir, we must fight." We rally today to say that we will fight for religious liberty. We will fight for the First Amendment. We will fight for the liberties and prerogatives enshrined for all religions in the U.S. Constitution. We will fight in order to preserve the freedom given to us by the Founding Fathers. As one who knows where this road ends up, I thank all of you for not being silent, for not giving way to entropy, for not being home, but for being here and doing something. I can say in this fight, we will stand shoulder to shoulder, as many as are of good faith, and continue to move forward. LifeSiteNews.com will continue to cover it. I cannot speak for all Orthodox priests in this country, although we're the second largest church in the world. I can't speak for those elsewhere. We're a very small denomination in this country. I can't speak for all Orthodox priests even in Michigan or Ann Arbor. But I can say, people of every religious background who are of good faith will fight to preserve your freedom and our freedom under the Constitution. The late Blessed Pope John Paul II had so much regard for our two churches. He referred to the fathers of our church as the other lung of the Roman Catholic Church. May I use another metaphor? That is, together we are one great army. You bring up the western flank, we'll bring up the eastern flank, and together the two lungs will assure that this country continues to breathe the air of freedom. God bless you.